Okay, we're still on page 4. We're now going to insert the small dial, which goes on to these ones. Don't retain it at 12 o'clock. It'll come in at 12. You need to rotate as you put it in. This is where you find them. EC Student AutoCAD support material. It might say CAD blocks. I'm not quite sure, but it's somewhere in there, and it'll say FACO after that. And then you'll find 3 blocks: the large hand, the small hand, and the small dial. So back over to AutoCAD and just escape for that. And to create the blocks, we either go to the insert block on the block panel, or we can go to the insert tab and click insert. Alternatively, I on the keyboard, that gives us insert as well, and then we hit enter, and then we get this little this dialog box. So we browse, and this is where I'm going to find mine, but you have to browse for that FACO folder, and then small dial is one we want. We say open, and we'll just check what our dialog box is doing. It's given us the path, and the scale we want to keep as 111, and rotation we want to specify on screen. We could enter a value in there if we untick that, but we're going to leave this ticked, and then we're going to say OK. Just make sure that the block units say millimeters. If they say inches, and you've got a scale factor of 25.4 or 0.03937, that means that you've got the wrong template set up. You're using an imperial template, not the metric one. So there are a couple of ways to convert that, but ideally you just want to go to I can't do it now, but you go to File, New, and just make sure it's the AutoCAD ISO template, not the AutoCAD template. Okay, we will have covered that by the time we get to this point, but just so you're aware, if that says inches, then you're wrong somewhere. So then we can say OK, and we can click on our insert point. So again, just find that point, and it's asking us to rotate it around, so we can click it on, say, just about there. That should do it. So that's that one. Now if you hit the enter key, that's going to bring up the insert dialog box again. It calls up the previous command, so whatever command it was, it would bring it up again. We've found it. It's the same one. We don't need to browse for it again, so we can say OK for this one, and then we can click on there and maybe rotate round to, let's put it there, and similarly hit enter, OK, and then we'll put the third one in. I say I don't want you to have them at 12 o'clock. Just be a little bit imaginative about the positioning of it, and there we go. So there's 3 dials put in there. Okay, we're going to create a rectangle now, and it's going to be part of the hour marker. The start point is, I think actually it's negative 0.125, because we need it to be sort of the left-hand side of the center line, and then it's going to span sort of 1 up and 0.25 across. So that value there needs to be, and it will read by the time you look at this, negative 1.125 and 13. So back to AutoCAD, and we'll choose the rectangle tool. Now to specify the first corner point, so we're looking at a negative 0.125, comma 13, enter, and then the size of it is going to be 0.25 across, comma 1 up, and that gives us that size marker. Now there's 12 of these, so again we're going to use the polar array. So select that, go into the center, pick the midpoint, and then we'll enter 12. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Now again, we want to do we want to do this now? Well, what we'll do is add a hatch to one of these later on, and you can see how if we edit one, then they all update because they're all associated. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is. The next bit is to go down to page 5, and we are going to put a polyline in, or should we hatch it? No, I think we'll have best stick to what we've got here, because this is going to be our polyline. These things are going to be hatched afterwards, so we'll hatch later, but we need to put a polyline in. So I draw a polyline with a global width set to 0.1 millimeter from the center of that to the center of that. The reason is that we're going to put the minute markers around, and if we started here it would be a little bit more complex. So if we start at this point and then we work around, then that will be nice and easy for us. Okay, so it's going to be from that point to that point, polyline, global width set to 0.1. So we choose the polyline tool and we start off by clicking on this midpoint. And then we get the specify next point or, and we can hit the down arrow. And if I enter, this is a different way to set the width. Instead of going arc, half width, length, undo width, we go down to the width bit, hit enter, and hence start the value. Now, you just got to be careful about this. I'm moving it away so you can actually see what it says. Specify starting width, 0.1, enter, and then it says specify ending width. So it wants two widths, not just one, the starting width and the ending width. They are both going to be the same, 0.1, but you could enter a different value and it would end up being sort of thicker at the other end. Okay, so ending width, just hit enter to set that, and then we can hit this point here. And then we hit escape, and we select this, and then we go polar array, and then we come down to the midpoint, we select that, and then we say we want 60 items, because there's 60 minutes in the hour, and then hit enter, and that's done that bit for us. Now, these are again associated, that's fine, we don't need to worry about exploding these. These will be just fine the way they are. And so far, if I just double click that, this is what we've got. So I think we'll put the hands in and then we'll come back and put the text in. So we'll finish off by putting the hands in. So we go in and we'll go to the insert again, and we might have that as one of our recent inputs. So we can go down to insert. So I'm just right clicking and then go down to insert, and we'll browse again, and this time we're looking for the minute hand. Open and OK, and that's going to sit at this point, and we can come around maybe to something like that, and then we go right click, repeat insert, and browse again for the hour hand. Open, OK, and then we just click on that midpoint or center point and move this around. Do something like that. Okay, so that's pretty much all our dials put in. The last bit, we've left some room there to put the Phaco quartz, and we're going to create a new text style for that, and then we'll insert that text at a certain insert point.